Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about distancing and the art of keeping attraction alive in a relationship. And although I was referring to and I'm going to refer to your relationship with your partner, these principles also apply to any kind of relationship, whether it's with close friends or family members. There's an energetic principle here that you can apply to any relationship. Before we start, I just want to remind you that if you like videos with this type of content, life coaching, nutrition coaching, or anything that has to do with your wellness, go ahead and subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button below. And also, if you want to be notified every time there's a new video, click on the bell. Okay, so the first principle of keeping the attraction alive is this concept of distancing, pacing. In anything we do, we want to keep a proper distance, and we want to keep a proper spacing between closeness and farness. So if any one of you has ever done a social dance or a partner dance, you would know that if you get too close to your partner or if you get too far from your partner, the dance starts to not work. Each partner needs to hold their own space in order to keep the dance flowing and alive. So if you're in a relationship and often you feel very alone in the relationship, you feel like there's a lack of closeness, that could mean that you need to make more effort to go closer to your partner. That closeness can be made physically by physically getting closer. It can be an emotional closeness where you initiate more intimate conversations, but you need to take responsibility for the pacing of this distancing. Also, on the flip side, if there's a certain feeling of too muchness in the relationship, you're sick of your partner, they're getting on your nerves, you don't feel attracted to them anymore, chances are you haven't taken proper distancing. You haven't spent enough time alone. You haven't gone and done things with other people or done things for yourself. And then the third aspect of this is, let's say your partner is acting like they're not interested in you, they're sick of you, they're not attracted to you anymore. That means that perhaps you're constantly getting too close and you're not giving them the proper amount of space to actually miss you or desire you. Think about anything in our life. If we get too much of it, it's not interesting anymore. We get sick of it. So really, having this balance of spacing can give so much in a relationship. Earlier, I told you that this is not only true with your partner, but in friendships. If you see that you're always the one calling a friend or always the one making an effort, oftentimes we get really angry with the person and we blow up on them or we tell them they're not calling us enough. And sometimes there is a place for expressing that, definitely. But another way of doing it, or in addition, is to just take some space without getting angry, without blowing up in their face. Don't call for a while. Step back, take the cue, and allow them or give them the space to have to step up to the plate and make some effort towards you. If you step away and this person never comes towards you, both if you do it physically or if emotionally you give them space, whatever the way, and you see there's no effort on their part, then you know that there might be a problem with this relationship in terms of the other person's interest in contributing towards you. Now, this also means that you're going to need to be an independent person. A lot of us go into relationships wanting to be dependent. Sometimes people are what we call codependent, where they're very needy. And if you really want to have a healthy relationship, you need to have a certain amount of independence, because nobody likes to feel like somebody else needs them to the point of utter dependency. They like to feel needed, loved, cared for, but they don't like to feel like they're somebody else's heir or like somebody else wouldn't survive without them. That's not a good feeling, and it's a fine line in relationships, because although we want a partner that really needs us, we don't want one that we feel is helpless. So be independent and take responsibility for your independence, and this will create a proper amount of spacing and distance in the relationship through your individual independence. On that note, you also need to know when it's time to get close. Some people get so caught up in playing hard to get in the beginning of a relationship, or perhaps throughout a relationship they've created this dance where they're always playing the hard to get, and at one point or another that can become tiring if you go too far with it. You also have to know when to come in close, when to give. Pick up on the cues of your partner. If your partner seems tired, seems like they need love, if you know your partner's love language, the things that speak to them, also take responsibility for being the one that comes in close. Don't always leave it up to your partner to do all the work. Of course, every relationship is different, and this ratio is going to play itself out differently in different relationships depending on who you're with. You might have a partner that enjoys giving more than receiving, and that's okay. There's not one formula that's right, but one thing's for sure, it can't be 80-20. It can't be even 70-30, because at one point the person that's always giving will get burnt out, or one day their self-esteem is going to kick in and they're going to realize that this is not a fair relationship and that they want to feel valued as well. And not only that, if you allow a person to always give to you and you're not also giving, you'll get sick of them, because it will feel like too much at one point, like they try too hard, like they want you too hard. So really keeping that balance and also being the one that gives is important. If you are feeling lonely in the relationship, get close. If you're feeling like you need space, take space. Don't look to your partner to be the one that's responsible for giving you what you need. Although we should have these emotional conversations and point out to our partner if there's things that they need, or if there's things that you feel like they could improve upon, tell them in a kind way. We're in relationships to learn and grow, not to be sedentary and stagnate. So it's important to express yourself, but also take responsibility. Pay attention to cues. There are so many cues that you can get about whether or not you're spacing correctly. And oftentimes we'll just look for the very obvious verbal declaration from our partner about whether or not they need space or whether or not they need touch. But you have to realize, if your partner needs space, they might not always come out and tell you. They might not want to hurt your feelings, so they might start putting up a facade, and then they'll be resentful. So if you see that your partner ever so gently pulls their hand away, or ever so gently is spending longer and longer at the office, instead of nagging about it, give that space and really just start noticing the little cues. The next thing is if you notice that your partner is constantly coming towards you. Let's say they're always holding your hand, they're always touching your hair to the point where you don't like it. It's something to notice. I wonder why they feel the need. Is it something I'm doing? Do I maybe not give enough attention? Or maybe this person, for some reason, has had relationships in the past where they've gotten used to having to give too much. So little cues can give you a lot of information as well. Do you have a partner maybe that always does all the grocery shopping and they don't complain about it, but then every time they come back from the grocery shopping, they're in a bad mood? So they're doing it, but part of them doesn't really want to be the only one doing it. So look for all the other cues that they're giving you, or maybe they're not even giving you, but it's just coming out of them, to really know how to space, how to give, and when to take away. In any relationship, for the relationship to be successful, you need to be a whole person. You need to try and meet your own needs as much as you can before relying on your partner to be the one to meet those needs. Of course, we're in partnership because there's things that our partner brings to us that we can't bring ourselves. And of course, we want to show vulnerability and some sense of dependence so that our partner feels that they're wanted. But always do that from a point of focus where you know that you are a whole person, that you're an adult, that you're somebody that knows how to be mindful of your needs and express them, and also do whatever you can for yourself before, burdening your partner with taking care of your individual needs. And the last point I want to bring up have less expectations of your partner and more gratitude. A lot of us go into a relationship with a lot of expectations, and the less you have expectations and the more you just notice the little things that they do for you, whether or not those things that they're doing for you are things that you actually asked for or wanted, open your eyes and be grateful for what they do for you. And if you have a running script in your head about all the things that you wanted them to do and they're not doing, kind of question your expectations. And when I say that, I don't mean have zero expectations, don't have a partner that's together. But remember, if we're coming from this principle of two whole people, then not needing to have a ton of expectations and showing more gratitude will definitely strengthen the relationship and make you feel happier because you'll be in control. If you have any tips about what you've been doing to keep the attraction alive in your relationships or to just keep your relationships healthy in general, please do put them in the comment section so that we can all share our own life experiences and the things that have worked for us. Also, if you want to be able to see more videos like this one, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be notified every time there's a new video. Wishing you many blessings. Bye-bye.